What is going on, fellow game developers? My name is Muddy Wolf, and today we're continuing our 2D Endless Runner tutorial series. Now, in the last video, we upped the difficulty by making a difficulty ramp for the game. Now, in this episode, we are going to be creating a new high score system and implementing the ability to save and load your high scores. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, the first thing we're going to want to do is in our game manager, we are going to want to open this up in Visual Studio Code, and we're going to want some sort of data for this. Now, we could just create a public float called Highscore and set that to 0, but if we want more data we want to save in the future, it's best to create a serialized class for it. So let's create a class dedicated to saving data. So now inside of our assets, let's create a new C# script and let's call it the data for the game. We could also call it save data or whatever you want. We're going to stick with data for now. Let's delete everything in here because this does not need to be a mono behavior script. This just needs to be a class, and then we'll also call this a not serialized field. We'll say system.serializable as well, so we can actually serialize this field. Now in here we can add whatever we want. The obvious thing is going to be our float for our high score, and currently this is all we need right now. In the future you may want a string for your name or whatever else you want to save, but I'm just going to show you how you can save the high score for now and load it later. So back in our game manager now, we can actually create a new public data called our data. So in a start method, what we're going to do is we're going to check if we have data, loads data, else create new data. And in here what we're going to do, we're actually just going to quickly just say data is equal to a new data like that, and that'll just instantiate our new data setup so we can actually access our high score. When we finish our game, what we want to do is we want to check if our data.highscore is less than our current score, and if it is, that means our high score is been set. So we're going to set it to our new current score. That means we've just got a new high score. In fact, I think we should remove our current score and pull it inside of our start game. So when the game starts, we'll reset our score that way. That means we can actually have a consistent current score as well. Now we've done this, let's actually get it visualized inside of our game. So if we go back to Unity and we select our canvas, highlight our canvas, and we go to our game over score, let's just turn this on and hide everything else. What we want to do is inside of here, I'm going to take our start and back button and just move it down a little. Could bring it somewhere down here, that'll be fine. And then above this, what we want is to just duplicate our title, rename this to our score. We can make this not bold and probably a little smaller. Let's say it's something like 36, that'll do. Bring this down and just say score, and then we'll give it 0 here just by default. Then we want to duplicate this and actually then get our high score. So what we're going to do is just rename this to high score, and this will also be set as 0 by default, but we'll change this inside the thing when we need to. And there you go. So you can see here we now have a score and a high score which we need to set. Let's just rename these objects here to score and high score. And then back in our canvas, we want to go into our UI manager, and we're going to need to get when our game over. So we see here we added a for activate game over UI. In here we want to actually set the GUI. So in here we're just going to go to serialize a new private field, and this is going to be a text mesh pro GUI, which will be our game over score UI. And then we'll also copy this because we're going to want a high score one as well. So we could just change this to high score GUI. And then inside of our game over UI, we want to set the text equal to, and we're going to say score. And then we can actually get our game manager dot current score here. And then we'll copy this, change it to this new one, rename this to Highscore, and get our data.Highscore here. Now in theory this should set our high score when we get a new one. So if we come back here, you can see it should run this and then we should get it. So let's just give this a quick test. So let's turn our game over canvas off. We can unhide our other canvases and hit 2. Well, I forgot to actually set these things in here. We need to actually set our score and our high score inside of our game over UI there. So hit play and then we'll just wait for our def. So you can see we are getting up to 4, 5, 6, 6, and you can see we get our score there of 6. Now this is kind of messy, so we're probably going to want to clean this up as well. But luckily we created a function inside of here called pretty score to actually get the nice looking score. So what we could do is also get a pretty high score as well. This is a bit messy. We should probably make these one function and actually sell it. But what we'll do is we'll just get our data.Highscore and then toString here. And then inside of our UI manager, we can change this to gm.prettyScore. And this one will be to pretty high score. Also, I want to lowercase that s because I feel like it should be a lowercase. There we go. There we go. That should now fix it. And now it should be looking a bit more pretty. Let's hit play and let's run through the game. You can see we die, we get our score, but our high score isn't being set. And since score 6 is higher than 0, it should really be set. So let's figure out what's going on. So just to clarify, what we want to do is we actually want to put the game over in folk actually below all of this, because then this will call the UI manager function after we already set this stuff here. Okay, so here we go. We got our obstacle and we get killed. And there you go. You see our high score is 6. Now, if we replay and let's get a little bit higher this time. So let's try and get past 6. And we jump the first obstacle, but we die to the second. You can see we get 8. But now what happens if we die at 6 again? So if we replay the game and we carry on here, and hopefully this time we should only get 6, you can see our high score is still 8, whereas our score is 6. And that's great. However, if we stop playing the game and we start playing the game again, our high score is going to be reset back to 0, or in this case, it'll go back to 6 when we die. So you can see there our high score is 6 and it was 8, which isn't good. So to fix that, what we want to do is actually set up a save and load system. So inside of our assets, what we want to do is create a new C# script which we're going to call a save system, and let's double click this to open up in Visual Studio Code. Now first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all of the stuff in here, and we can also delete both of this and set this to a public static class called save system so we can access this from anywhere. We can delete both the using tags, but I'm going to swap the last one to be using system.io, and there you go. These are the two we need. Now inside of here we want a couple of static variables, and this is going to be our static read-only string, which is going to be a save folder, and this is going to be the location our game saves to. Now we want to set application.persistent data path because this will always be persistent, and it means it will give you a good save path. And then we can call a saves folder inside of here, and that'll be our folder. We also just want a public static read-only string called the file extension, which we're going to just call .json. This just saves us from rewriting out .json in every single thing. Now the first function we're going to want to need is actually to save our data. So what we want to do is create a public static void called save, which is going to have a string called file name, capital the name, and then we also want the string which is going to be the data to save. Now this is going to be JSON data which we convert to, which is, we'll do that where using the Unity's JsonUtility system. So in here we just want to first check if the save directory actually exists. So what we want to do is say if not directory.exists, so if the save folder doesn't exist, then we will actually create the directory for the save folder. Then once we've done that, we can do our file.write all text. And the first thing we want to do is actually get our save folder plus our file name, and then also plus the file extension on the end of this. And then after that, we just want the data to save in here as well. So what we're doing here is we're basically checking if a folder exists. If it doesn't, we're going to create the folder. Otherwise, we're going to get an error. And then we actually write the saved data, or the data we want to save, to our file with a file name we pass through. So we can actually create multiple files using this method. So you could have an options save, you can have your actual progress save. For now, we're just going to call it the save.json because we're only going to have one save, but this is a universal thing you can reuse anywhere. Now we've got our actual save system, we need to actually load the data too. Now we need a public static, and this is going to be a string which is called load. Now we're going to actually pass in the file name again to this, because we want to know which file we want to load. And now in here, we just want to check if file.exists, and this time we're going to check if our save folder plus our file name plus the file extension. Now, if this file actually exists, then we can actually say string loaded data is equal to file.read all text this time, and we're going to pass in the same thing. Now we could probably concatenate this into one thing here. Let's create a string called file location, and we'll just call this, so we can say file location and file location there. And then once we load that data, we just want to return loaded data. We don't want to say else, we're just going to return null. So if this file doesn't exist, so there is no save, then we're actually going to tell the system that it's null, and then we can handle that in the game manager. So here you can see how it all works. It's pretty straightforward and really easy to use. So all we need to do now is actually save and load our data. So let's go to our game manager, and in here we want to just say if there is a new high score, then we are going to use the save system.save, and we're going to give a file name. We're just going to call it save, and the data we want to save. Now before we get to this part, we actually just want to convert our data to a savable file, or a savable string in JSON. And to do that, we just say JsonUtility to JSON, and then we just pass in the file we want to convert. So you can see here, we can now create a string called save string, and then we can actually pass that as our second parameter to our save function here. And that way, anytime we get a new high score, we'll save our data to our save, and that will be done. However, we need to also load our high score as well. So I like to actually load our data in the start method. I think it's the better way to do it when we load our game manager. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if, and then we're going to say if. Sorry, the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to create a string, or a string called loaded data, which we're going to set to our save system.load, and we're going to pass in the file name save. We're then going to say if loaded data is not equal to null. So if it's not equal to null, then we can convert our loaded data back into data. So we can say data is equal to, and then we can say JsonUtility.fromJSON, and then we're going to pass in the class we want to convert to. So this will be our save data. And then we need to pass in the string, which will be our loaded data. Then otherwise, we just want to pass in our data here. We can actually get rid of our comments now, because that should do it for us. And there you go. This is now going to load our data. If it doesn't exist, then we'll just create a new data from nothing and now set the high score to 0. So that should be everything we now need for our system to work. So let's actually go in, and we're going to test this out first by just going here, and you can see we actually have data with a high score of 0. Now when we hit play, this should still be 0 because we actually haven't saved our data yet. So now if we play and we just let our character die straight away when we hit the first obstacle at 6, you should see our high score get set here. And now if we stop this and we replay, this high score should be loaded in. And there you go, you can see our data high score loaded in. Now if we play and we actually get higher than our 6 seconds, and here we go, boom, now you can see we get a score of 8 and that has updated. And then we can replay again and try and beat that score. But if we don't beat that score and say we die at 5 seconds, you can see our high score is still 8 and it's still 8 there. And if we stop and we reload one last time, you can see the high score is loaded as the exact same load as before. So that's it for this video, guide. So we've added a high score system and a saving data system. Now you can use the save data for more than just high scores. You can use it for player location. You can use it for so many different things. So it's got such a wide use case. And this class is actually what I use. This save system class is actually what I use in every single one of my games that uses JSON. Obviously, some of them I use binary. So if you want to see a video on binary, let me know down below. But that's going to be it for this video. Guys, don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this episode. Smash that subscribe button and leave a comment down below. The next video will be coming out soon, which should be preing our games and making it look a lot cooler, adding in post-processing and stuff like that. Oh, and don't forget, you can actually get the source code for each lesson on my Patreon. The link is down below in case you want to get your hands on the code. So guys, thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.